Well, guess what the theme is this morning? Lost and found. What do you lose every day? Keys? Can never find my keys. Cell phone? A little bit more important. Now you can now call your cell phone so it rings, but you have to be in the same state. Where did I put that blasted thing? I was on retreat this week, in which, by the way, we had a priest retreat for the diocese, about 30 of us, and I want you to know that I especially pray for all of you and the particular needs that we have in this parish, which is my obligation and duty and pleasure to do with you and for you every week, actually, but especially this week. At the end of when it was over Friday morning, I packed up my stuff, put it in the car, and went to the last conference. In the middle of the conference, one of the women who worked there comes into the room looking for me with my checkbook. I said, "Where was that?" "In a drawer." Why did I even take the checkbook? I don't know. But she tracked me down. Now, if I had driven back here from Greensburg without a checkbook, now do you know the panic I would have been in? Well, she saved the day for me. I'm losing my mind. I don't know how to find it. When it comes down to it, I think in various ways we're all in that category, being forgetful. But the gospel is not about this kind of superficial losing things. It's much more profound, as you heard in the scripture today. The parable of the prodigal son is the culmination of Jesus' teaching this weekend on the joy of God. Not the anger of God, but the joy of God when we find our way back to where we're supposed to be. Now, this is Rembrandt's portrait of his version in art of the prodigal son. This hangs in our reconciliation room. Every time you go in there, look at it. But this is something that we could all, books have been written on this portrait. Father Henry Nouwen has a wonderful book on the prodigal son, which is worth reading if you're looking for something spiritual to look at. But this, you could sit in front of this portrait and just look at it and meditate on it, and you'll see more and more. It opens up the truth of the gospel. Now just look at that for a moment. You have obviously the son who's back home. We don't see a face. We don't see his face. He's buried in his father's embrace, groveling. I don't deserve to be here. But I thought I'd come because it's a better deal than what I had before. He doesn't necessarily get great credit for his motivation, but he comes home. Look at the face of the father. It's a parent whose child has come home. That's primary. The compassion of the gospel, the compassion of God is seen in the way the Father embraces this son. The two other onlookers in the background, don't know, we can look at that another time. But look at the elder son. Look at his face. Harumph. You never did that for me. You can the self-righteousness of the elder brother. I never did what he did. I'm Mr. Wonderful. But look how you went out of your way for him. You never did that for me. Now, in this story, we can place ourselves. We need to insert ourselves into the painting. We could be each person at a different time in our life or at a different time of the day. We can be the father, we can be the son, and the elder brother, depending on what's going on inside of us. The key issue is the welcome back. Not because I deserve it, because if you hear in that gospel passage, the son is on his way back, the father sees him a long way off, comes running to him, Doesn't wait for him to come home. He meets him more than halfway. That's the good news of the gospel. You and I are the prodigal son in different ways in which we live and screw up and miss the point and lose our way. We can always come home. We're afraid we can't, because the way we treat each other very often is like the elder brother. Now you want to get it straight when you have nowhere else to go. We get this brittle attitude of self-righteousness. Self-righteousness is a killer. And you have to be careful, because the goody two-shoes of life, who think that they're better than everybody else, or not as bad as everybody else, act that way. And they're off-putting. Really not nice to be around people who think they're better than you are. Or vice versa, when we do this to others. It's not the way God is. The Father represents the good news that Jesus is preaching. I want you with me. I don't want you away. What parent worthy of the name would not want that for every child in that family? The siblings may see it differently, but the parents know. That is God with an exclamation point. So this lost and found, we have to know spiritually that we can always come home. After we have veered off and gone our way. I've often said in jest, and it's kind of a little with a twist, that when we built the church, we should have put a revolving door on the front of it. There are times in your life when you come, and there are times when I'm out of here. When we're pretty much have our way in life, who needs God? I'm very busy and I got my own whatever, and I can do it myself. I don't need any help. But by God, when bad things happen, where are you supposed to go? And where can you go? For a welcome and an embrace. Here. That's why this church exists. There are two overtures that Bishop Brandt is asking us to be involved in the Diocese of Greensburg in this coming year. One is evangelization. That is reaching out and inviting people to come home or to find a home, to be missionaries. Catholics are neuralgic. We are allergic to doing this. We're very private with our faith. And if you get a little bit too verbal, people turn you off. So we're very nervous about this. And frankly, I'm not too big on it either. I don't like to be in people's faces. However, this parish, like every other parish, needs to be a welcoming and inviting community of faith. Because the parish has to act like the Father and welcome every child of God into the circle of our love and the love of God that we celebrate here. Nobody is to be excluded from this. A lot of people don't know that they're welcome. A lot of people don't know what to do, what God is in their life. They've had no experience of it. They've gone off, they've done all kinds of other things. Raising children who are unchurched, families that are unchurched, that have nothing. Where are they supposed to go? Here. How are they supposed to get here? Ewans. That's your task, not just mine. Do each of us see ourselves in the role of missionary, not wearing it on our sleeve? People need to be invited. They don't need a pulpit message from me. Oh, say it from the pulpit and everybody will roll over and play dead and show up. They're not here. Part of the building of the fabric of parish life is that each of us sees ourselves as reaching out to those who are lost. And this is not a judgment on their moral character. People who are searching, who are looking for God and truth and the right path of their life. If we believe that we have Christ in our midst. If we believe that in the Word and in the sacraments we encounter Christ, each other, and in each other in the community, then we are missioned at the end of every Mass, go and share this with others. And by the way, bring them back with you the next time. They're in every family. They're in your families. We're not going to Africa for this. We are missionary in our daily lives. They're your co-workers. Has it ever occurred to you to do that? To say, come with me to worship at St. Margaret Mary some Sunday. Then let the Spirit do the rest. But it's not just about bringing people into the church. It is the way our faith shapes the way we live every day. Because in our kindness and in our goodness, our goodwill, and our service and our desire to reach out, others are touched. Many times when we're not even intending it. So we have to glorify God by the way we live every day. That also is attractive. I want to be like people who have that joy and that peace and that contentment, even though their life is not perfect. We have a mission to that end. The second overture that Bishop Brandt is asking us to be involved in is a return to the sacrament of penance, reconciliation, confession. This has kind of dwindled to the fringe in the Catholic community over the last maybe a couple generations. In the old time, people will remember going very often to the sacrament. The pendulum swung to the opposite direction where I don't commit any sins, I don't need forgiveness. Yes, we do. Now, you can ask for that personally, but where there's heavy-duty stuff or where we really need support and assistance to cope with the burdens of life, this sacrament is Christ present doing that for us. Tell me who doesn't need that. We need to revisit in this parish the sacrament of reconciliation. We have two regional penance services in the next 2 weeks. Wednesday coming at St. Gertrude's in Vandergrift. The following Wednesday in the evening at 7 o'clock here. If you have not availed yourself of the sacrament in recent time, even if you have, come and receive that sense of peace and that welcoming and embrace that the Lord wants for us all. It is at our fingertips. We should not snub it and act like we don't need it. That's the elder brother. Each of us needs to position ourselves as that son before the Father very often in our lives. In this week's bulletin, there are a couple things on the sacrament of confession, benefits of confession, some things. What do you believe about it? Well, some of this is here. There's some interesting little pieces, and there's an insert, the Sacrament of Penance Q&A, with all kinds of questions and answers to answer some of the questions of why Catholics do this and what we believe. Look at this for your own faith formation as an update, and consider again how you can take advantage of the presence of Christ in this parish, receiving him sacramentally. Also becoming more a missionary, and not with the capital M, but the way in which you invite family members, friends, people who are questioning life, who are suffering, who are up and down, to join you and us on the weekend. This church was built for more than who come. Mass attendance continues to dwindle from year to year because life is too crazy. We have to be countercultural if we're going to reverse that. But that's a commitment that has to be in every person. To that end, we are all lost and we want to be found. You all sing best the songs that I don't like, one of which is Amazing Grace. I'm sorry, I have problems with that song, but that's my idiosyncrasy. Don't hold it against me. But it does say in Amazing Grace, was lost, and now I'm found. All of us need to find ourselves back to where we